Alright, you guys, welcome. Steve Hamp here with today's insight on the Shaolin Kung Fu styles, Shaolin in general. Okay, a lot of people want to claim, I even seen it on like the History Channel where they said that Kung Fu, Chinese martial arts, began in the Shaolin temples. And then they even talk about Tamo, the Indian monk who taught them. And this is just such a ridiculous claim, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, military people were the only ones who learned any martial arts. Okay, in the Shaolin temples, all they did was eat rice and pray and whatever else monks do. Okay. They were forbidden to carry weapons because it's against their religious practices, so they would get robbed, you know, things of this nature. It's the military people who fought wars, okay? And when they fight wars, they train, okay? They're trained just like any Roman soldier, just like any Marine, just like any soldier is. They're trained for combat, trained for war. Okay, so what happened is, and why they have it backwards is this. People went into the military, or they were brought into the military, what have you, okay? When a war was over, or they got out, they went back to farming, or to their family business, or what have you. Some of them even became outlaws, okay? Just like any society, you know? And the ones that became outlaws, a lot of times when they were fleeing persecution, they would seek sanctuary in a Shaolin temple. If they were brought into that Shaolin temple, sure, they learned the monk ways, but they also had their habits. Wake early, practice my Kung Fu, you know, do my training and such. So as these military or ex-military got into the Shaolin monasteries, they started teaching the monks their versions of whatever they were learning as far as martial studies. This helped the priests out because now they can go and don't have to worry about getting robbed. They can defend themselves, you know, things like that. So it's totally backwards what they teach because, like I said, you know, if you look at it the opposite and you go, wow, all this Chinese martial knowledge came from the Shaolin temple. So what, these priests and these monks learned it and then they started teaching the military people? I mean, that just doesn't even add up, does it? I mean, think about it. I mean, it's just ludicrous to think that way, but I'm sure a lot of you are going to think that way. But let me reiterate this and really stress this point to you. I mean, and let me backtrack a little bit, because the Indian monk Tamo did venture into China and did teach at the Shaolin temple. But what he brought was a series of exercises called the muscle tendon change. And why he taught this to these monks was because they were dying at early ages from no exercise, sitting in meditation, praying, things of this nature, no physical exercise. So he brought to them the muscle tendon change, and I don't know what else, maybe, you know, maybe bone marrow washing, maybe some other type of exercises that they, you know, got some physical activity from and lived longer, okay? But as far as bringing martial knowledge to the Shaolin temple, if that's so, then why isn't India more of a hub for martial studies? You know, so, but they are the Mecca for yoga and meditative exercises. I mean, these Indian folks, they really have some deep knowledge in that regard. So the Indian monk Tamo did bring from India some very useful knowledge to the Shaolin Temple, but it wasn't fighting. It was the muscle tendon change. Okay, after that, it was military people who were trying to escape persecution and went into the Shaolin temples and continued their martial studies and their martial practice, and eventually teaching the priests, and the priests really adopted this unarmed way of defending oneself. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell as far as Shaolin martial goes. Okay, this was part one. Okay, before you click out of here, you can always go to my website, stevehamp.com, and I have a free muscle tendon change ebook there. And it's a free book showing all 12 exercises in great detail, and it's a free ebook. All you have to do is subscribe to the newsletter. And I don't even bug a lot of people with the newsletter. I might send out one a week, or maybe 3 or 4 a month, if that. Okay, so you don't have to worry about me flooding your email box. Okay, but I go into detail, more detail about it in writing. Okay, so this is where Shaolin got their martial from. If you want to believe the opposite, like I said, and believe that the Shaolin priests, learned from the Indian monk Tao Mo how to do, how to fight, and then they taught the military that, be my guest. Okay, but I'm here to tell you that wasn't the case. Okay, this is the end of part one. Remember, learn, quit being taught. Okay, so I just now brought this to you. Either you can take it for what it's worth to you and say, Steve, you're full of crap, or you can say to yourself, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, and start using your own brain. All right, that choice is yours. All right, I'll see you on part two.